Welcome to the Tech on Toast podcast. We are the home of hospitality tech. Whether you're an operator wanting to untangle your tech or a technology provider wanting to join our community, we are the largest hospitality tech growth platform on the planet. The Tech on Toast podcast is brought to you today by Lightspeed. Lightspeed is the EPOS and payments platform that will help you scale your business at the speed of light. Trusted by over 170,000 businesses worldwide, including Big Mama, Mildred's, Mallow, and Cubit House. Lightspeed seamlessly connects to an ecosystem of integrated solutions such as OpenTable, Xero, Muse, and many more. Are you ready to take your hospitality business to the next level? With the Lightspeed unified platform, customers can shave seconds off each transaction and increase tips. Need a little support modernizing your tech stack? No problem. Want to scale your business? Get fast funding with Lightspeed Capital. No hidden fees or interest charges. Eligibility criteria and terms and fees apply. Get your demo today at www.lightspeedhq.co.uk/Tech on Toast. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to the next episode of the Tech on Toast podcast. And this week, I'm delighted to be returning to a favor to my friend over in San Diego, Shawn Walchef, founder of Cali BQQ and Cali BQQ Media. Shawn, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me on the show, Chris.
No, you are most welcome. And what time have we woken you up over there?
It's 5 a.m. on the West Coast over here in San Diego, but I would wake up at 2 in the morning for your show.
You're saying all the right things right at the start. Lovely. And I was just blaming Shawn because we have a good friend of the show called Adam Foreman. And before we get into what Shawn does, Shawn's created a monster. Adam, now, if you've met him recently, most people in the audience will know him. He's wandering around with his GoPro filming everybody and everything and actually doing a really good job of it. So shout out to you, Adam. But Shawn will explain why that's happened and why now every time we bump into him, he has a camera.
I'll share a secret with the audience, and it's something that we learned running our barbecue business and restaurants here in San Diego. And then the secret is no one is coming.
Yeah. As in no one is coming to your business.
No one's coming to your business and no one's coming to tell your story.
Yeah, I love it.
We have this fundamental belief as business owners and entrepreneurs, if we build it, they will come. It's the greatest lie ever told.
I love it. No, it's
nobody's
so true.
Coming. Like nobody, I don't care how good your product is. I don't care how good your service is. No one's coming.
I had a, we'll get into this. I'll drop this in a minute, but I had a boss called Callum McPherson, who was a Hard Rock Cafe, a Canadian guy who was brilliant. And he sat me down in a one-to-one when I was running one of the Hard Rocks. And he said to me, no one's coming over the hill to save you, my friend. He said, you're on your own. And those words stayed with me for a long time. But what he meant to say was, look, you are the master of your own destiny. If you want to take this business to the max, go for it. Turn it to 11, my friend. If you want to sit here and sit volume 5, that's also in your power. You can stay here and do that. But we are not coming here to do it for you. I think it's just such a key message in business sometimes to tell people that actually you are in charge, right? I know you're in charge, but you're really in charge of what might happen. And on that point, let's talk about Cali BQQ, because I think for those who don't know you, my audience might not know you, which sounds weird, right? Might not know who you are and what you do, but tell them a little bit about how you've got to where you've got to so far.
Sure. The short story is we opened up a restaurant in 2008, height of the economic recession. They tell you don't get into a difficult business and don't do it at a difficult time. And we did all of those things, and we picked a difficult location. So they tell you
well done.
location. As you can tell, it's kind of a theme of my life, is we like to do the hard things. We don't do the easy things. We do the hard things, but we learned a lot of lessons because we picked a difficult location. One of the things that I like to share is that in 2008, June 29th of 2007, June 29th, 2007. Do you know what happened on that day in history?
Oh, no. I'm annoyed now because I'm one of those things I want to win. I'm so competitive. I'm literally want to Google it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be a grown-up and let you tell me.
So my son was also born on June 29th. He was born 10 years later on 2017. But when he was in the hospital, when he was born, I was Googling, what significant has happened on June 29th. And I saw June 29th, 2007 was the day the first iPhone was released.
No, I should know that. I'm embarrassed now.
Well, you learned something. You had me on and you learned something.
I apologize about my camera going dark. I don't know what's going on, but I'll get that bit out. But no, that is interesting. And to this day, imagine when he's 30, what will be going on with phones or whatever we're holding in our hands at that point.
I think the reason why I talk about it as much as I do is it's not that long ago.
Yeah.
And we opened our business in 2008, a year later. And everything that we've learned how to do has been on the backs of Web 2.0, on the backs of me laughing at Facebook. As a business owner, I thought Facebook was a joke until I couldn't get people to come into our restaurant. And I was willing to do anything and everything to figure out how to pay payroll, how to figure out how to get people in the local community to know about our charity event that we were doing. And once I started to accept that the internet wasn't going anywhere, and in fact, it was only getting more complicated, I needed to understand my website. I needed to not make fun of Yelp as a restaurant owner. I actually needed to respond to reviews because those were humans that were coming into my business, whether they liked it or they didn't like it. I needed to take a proactive approach to managing hospitality online. That was the beginning of our digital hospitality thesis. Restaurant owners, we're phenomenal in real life. It's in our DNA to take care of humans, to make a stranger become a friend, to bring someone into our family, to bring someone into our home, to bring someone into our pub. But online, we think that it's because it's online, I don't need to respond to a Facebook comment, or I don't need to respond to a TripAdvisor review or a Yelp review, or somebody sent me an email. I can email them 3 days later. Not really. The businesses that are winning and the brands that are winning understand that the pulse that happens online is the same pulse that happens in real life.
And it's a real re-education piece, right? Isn't it? For people like, for people, I'm not in operations per se anymore, but I remember towards the end of my tenure running restaurants that actually I was thinking, I'm gonna have to re-educate myself here because this is not, and we'll go back to the point about Adam now, actually, but because Adam Foreman is a chap who runs a business called Captive Wi-Fi. He's built his own product, and I know he's been following you, Shawn. You share, you go on there's a show, isn't it, that you guys do
we
together?
do a live show on LinkedIn. So anybody that's listening on LinkedIn on Wednesdays and on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern time, I believe UK, maybe 6 p.m.
That's right. That's good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue
bad.
about guessing your time, but
and
you're at 5 a.m. as well.
We have some incredible people from the UK. Scott Auden from Auden Hospitality, Sophie Davis, so many incredible people that join us because we're willing to share our truth. That's the craziest thing. When I started our first show in 2017, our first podcast, I thought that I could make a marketing and business podcast and interview other people. And I thought that I wasn't alone. I thought that I wasn't the only restaurant owner on earth that cared about technology, that cared about marketing, that cared about branding, that cared about storytelling. And I could give other people a seat at the table if I could only figure it out. And in the beginning, nobody listened.
I've been there, my friend.
No one was listening.
It's so strange, isn't it? But why? So, like me, why did you keep going? Because I think I never know. No one ever asked me that because I'm never on the podcast. I've only ever been on yours, I suppose. But why do you keep going when you know that no one's listening?
So I had, out of all the interviews that I've done, there's some that stick out. There's things that, certain guests say that become part of the story. And one of the stories that I like to tell is Daryl Stinson. He's a motivational speaker. He used to be a professional athlete, and he was asking me about the podcast and asking me about digital hospitality and why do you do the things that you do? And he said, you know what, Shawn, what you're doing, you're building a digital flash mob. So what are you talking about? How do you start a flash mob?
You get a bunch of people to come and dance, like to
you,
take part.
You have to be willing to be the crazy person that hears the music that no one else hears.
Yeah.
And you got to be willing to dance, look stupid, sound stupid in the middle of the town square. But that willingness to dance, that willingness to do something that no one, but you feel it in your heart. Yeah. Eventually you get one other person to dance. Now there's two people dancing and they hear it and they believe it. And then next thing, a year later, 2 years later, compounding interest. That's the problem that most people have when they think about content is I want to make a video and I want to have hundreds of people, thousands of, it just doesn't work like that. Having the courage to post one video, you have to have the courage. How do I get to 10,000 videos?
Yeah. I think that's the repetition of it, right? the sticking with it, even when you're at episode 30, when you
Yeah.
realize that, oh yeah, I've got some traction, but we're still talking in the 20s, right?
Yep.
We're still talking
Correct.
25, 30 people. And it's about the belief system, thinking I can do it. And I actually think then the second person who dances with you is probably more important than the first, because they're the ones that
Absolutely.
said, you know what, he's brave, but I'm going to really take a risk and go with him. And I think that's a great story and a great way of framing anyone who's listening, who's thinking of, like Adam, taking a chance and putting yourself out there and putting your camera in people's faces and just going for it with
Well,
little or no experience
I mean, the
and doing
beautiful thing about
a
Adam's
good job.
story is that Adam was joining our LinkedIn calls. So we do these calls on Wednesday and on
Yeah.
Friday on LinkedIn. It's a free call for anybody that's literally on earth, that's in hospitality, in restaurants, in sales and marketing, that wants to start creating content. And Adam was talking about his insecurities about posting. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
worried that the video is not going to look good. I'm worried that I need to edit the video. And I'm like, our whole community said, Adam, your truth matters. Like, just be you. You don't need to be somebody. We're not talking about acting. We're talking about just being you.
Yeah.
Like, show us who you are and what you do. And now, because he's had the courage to do it, all the people around him are starting to ask him, how do you do it?
Yeah. And also he's getting encouraged, I think, which is really bad. I need to tell people to stop encouraging him. but he's the kind of person you shouldn't encourage to do anything. But the fact is, what you're looking in and you're looking, and he's bought the good kit. He's bought the right, he's made sensible decisions because he's a smart guy. But I think what you said there before about taking that risk, and I know him quite well. I imagine it was quite hard to do the first foot off the step. I must have been quite difficult for him, but fair play to you, Shawn. You've created a monster there, and he's off and running, which is great. And I suppose, how have you convinced? Because Cali BBQ's been a great success. I think you've got 3 locations. Is that right?
We're about to open up our 4th location in the San Diego Navy base. Thank you. It's going to be a QSR location, about 900 square feet, and we're going to be serving the sailors. So the men and women that serve our country, we're going to be able to take care of them. It's exciting for us because we slow smoke all of our meats, our brisket, our pork, our ribs, tri-tip chicken. Everything that we cook is at the master location, and then we deliver it daily to the stadium locations that we have. We have one friendly ghost kitchen location, and then we'll have this Navy-based location as well.
It's amazing. My first experience of having a smoker was at the Hard Rock. We used to have a smoker in the kitchens.
Cool.
In the UK, again, at that point, was quite a rare thing. And we was smoking all our ribs in there. The smell in the morning used to come in was insane. And it's also lunchtime here, so stop it. It's getting difficult. But off the back of that, you built Cali BQQ Media, right? Which
Correct.
I guess at the start was about you having your Adam moment, right? About you just saying, hey, I need to tell people that we're here and what we're doing and why we love it.
Yeah, I think, back to the no one's coming to tell your story. I was so naive as a business owner in the beginning, and I thought that if we made phenomenal barbecue, if we took care of our community, if we gave back, if we did all these things that wasn't happening in our part of San Diego, because we're off the beaten path, that the local news station would take notice, the newspaper would take notice, the magazines, a radio station, nobody cared.
Yeah.
And nobody cared. And what I realized was I have everything I need to tell my story. I don't need to create Facebook. I don't need to create Instagram. I don't need to make YouTube. I don't need to make Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I just need to learn how to use these tools, to use audio, video, words, and images to tell our story on the internet. And the better that I get at telling my story and telling the Cali BBQ story and telling the story of Spring Valley and San Diego and what we're doing and why a rising tide lifts all ships, why we partner with other barbecue brands, the better that I get at doing that, now I can go and tell other people's stories.
Yeah.
So then I can start to do the work that we do now at Cali BBQ Media, which is B2B, business to business content. As a business owner, we also consume content. We also purchase things. And I make user-generated content for our technology partners. So a company like Toast, for us, I switched from Aloha to Toast, and I knew that by that point, which was 2020, we switched, we had already been making content as a Cali BBQ Media company since 2017. I mean, we had been making videos. I think the first time we started really leaning into videos when Facebook allowed you to do Facebook Live, which was around 2016. That's really when I started to notice that we moved from photos to video. But really, even 2017, it wasn't 2018, 2019 is really when we actually, the beginning first 50 episodes of our podcast weren't on video. They were on just audio only. But
And
then
I have real. I always wonder about that, about the video versus audio. But I think I get better traction from video. I'm pretty
100%.
sure. Yeah.
If anybody does a podcast and they're not doing video, they're missing the biggest audience
Yeah.
possible.
For sure. You're leaving it on the dance floor.
You're leaving it all on the dance floor, for sure.
Something no one wants to see me do. Which is good. And while
I
we're
want
at
to see you leave it all on the dance floor.
One day, my
100%.
friend.
I
One day.
will see you in London, and we will see it on the dance floor.
Funnily enough, that's not in my quick fire round at the end. Me dancing. But what I am interested in as well, because you obviously you've got your own business, you're now building a second business out of the content creation, which is fantastic, right? Helping your peers reach more people and reach more audiences and actually sell more product, right? But how is the industry in the US? Because over here it's hugely challenging and has been since the pandemic, obviously, and hasn't really recovered. In fact, there's almost new challenges coming to us at the moment. Is it the same over there, or how's everyone doing?
Yeah, it's the same. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the funny thing of having been in business since 2008 is that one of the things that I've learned, more as a man, and things that I have my own issues with, is to focus on the things I can control and don't focus on the things that I can't.
Amen.
I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of business owners from, about which president is elected or what's happening in California state, what laws are passed for minimum wage going to $20 an hour for restaurants that have 60 units. Like, none of that, I can't control that.
Yeah.
What I can control is that no one's coming to tell my story. And if I learn how to better tell my story every single day and learn how to make videos for YouTube and for Spotify and for Instagram and for TikTok, all of a sudden I get to do all kinds of things that I never thought I would be able to do. I mean, I got invited to Toast IPO, like literally initial
like
public offering, New York Stock Exchange. We haven't been on Toast the longest. There were 20 restaurants that they selected. We were one of those restaurants. Like, if you go to Google Earth and you see where our restaurant is located, you number one, you'll be like, no way that this place is still in business. Number two, no wonder they believe in the internet the way that they believe in the internet, because we wouldn't be able to do the things that we were able to do if it wasn't for this inherent belief that we're not alone. Other people care about improving their business. Other people believe in technology. Other people believe in leadership. Other people, I know I don't have the answers. In fact, the more that I podcast, the more that I create content, the more I realize I have no idea what's going on.
I think that's the single thing I enjoy most, right, about doing this, is that you never stop learning. I mean, you say it to your kids, don't you? You say to your kids, "Oh, you never stop learning." You kind of like a dad thing you say. But I've just done one before I've met you now, and my mind was blown. Some of the stuff I was told in that podcast, I was like, it's all about data and email marketing and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, the opportunity there that exists for that. I just think it's fantastic. And I think you feed off that, don't you? You enjoy that. You really enjoy that side of it.
My grandfather, he raised me. I never met my father, and he was born in a Bulgarian village. He was born to be a farmer, but his love and curiosity of wanting to be better and wanting to learn allowed him to read every single book in his village. He literally had to walk to another village to read more books. And what he taught me growing up was to stay curious, to get involved, and to ask for help. Like, the curiosity will bring you to a podcast. The curiosity will bring you to a book. It'll bring you to a trade show. But like that, it doesn't stop there. What did you do with that? Did you actually do something? So if you're listening to Chris and I talk and you go, oh, I've really wanted to start posting on LinkedIn, like, this is the call to action to post a video of yourself. Who are you and what do you believe? And post it on LinkedIn. And even if you're nervous, even if you stutter, post it today, right now. Tag Chris, tag me, and say, this is the beginning of your next chapter. Because LinkedIn isn't going anywhere. LinkedIn just made an update. They're pushing more video. They want business video. They want to be the platform that is the YouTube for business, the TikTok for business. That means more people are going to have opportunity to see content from people that they don't follow. This is the time. It's 2024. Like, we don't need to go and start a show. You are a show. You yourself, who you are and what you do. I'm fortunate that a lot of these big technology companies here not only in the United States, but also globally. They ask me to talk to their sales teams and their marketing teams. Do you know how many marketers there are that don't publish on the internet?
So many. So many.
They're getting paid six figures, huge salaries, and they've never they don't hit publish on LinkedIn. They don't create Instagram Reels. They don't know how to make a YouTube channel. How is that possible?
It's really weird because I literally just did a podcast with a lady called Vic Searle who runs a company called Data Hawks in the UK, and they basically bring you ROI on email marketing. But we talked about the same thing about how marketing in our industry has almost been, I don't know if it's been put down or squashed or whatever, but it's kind of like it wasn't in the center, right? And brand is very important now. I think everyone gets that. But product was always in front of brand, right? Always. Products, like if the dish isn't good, then we're closed, right? But we've just missed this huge opportunity of marketing what we do. And I think more importantly, what you say is marketing what you do, as in you, not the chicken on the plate, not the ribs, you know?
Believe me, I'm the person that will always lean into brand, but it's always going to be the human. It's going to be the human, and more importantly, the humans. So the more people that are telling the story, the more traction that brand will get, the more deals they'll get, the more opportunities they'll get. Because we're all in the same sandbox. You know, as much as we think that attention's fragmented, just look at the most downloaded apps. The secret's right there. Where are they? It's YouTube, it's Spotify, it's Instagram, it's Facebook.
Yeah, because we want to be connected, right? That's the thing. I think
we do.
That our industry is about human connection, it always has been, and there's nothing. Everyone needs to accept the fact, I think, that it's now digital as well. That a digital is playing as big as part as the. You know, we're never going to miss the. You know, the when you walk into the Cheers bar and the beer flies down the bar into your hand. You know, that's never going to go away. Everybody loves that.
Sure,
but we've got to be realistic, like you say, where you're located in the world. That actually you can't rely on that guy spinning the beer down the bar every day to you. You need to go out and find people.
Yeah, and you have to find alternative revenue streams. You know, I think, you know, I was just on a call with Jeff Alexander. He runs a brand called Wow Bao. So Wow Bao, they have restaurants. They're also dark kitchens. They also have consumer packaged goods. Like what he talked about, I was talking at his company, All Hands, is that we need to redefine what the word restaurant means. And I think that that's very accurate, because we've redefined it for 16 years. We went from a breakfast restaurant to a sports bar to an event company to now we're a media company. All of those things have changed, but we've evolved.
Yeah. Never stand still, right?
Never stand still, but also be like bamboo. Be flexible, but be sturdy.
Love that. Not heard that one before. But and also you were talking to me just before we started about the Future. There's a company called the Future.
Correct.
Who actually didn't realize when you were talking about the chap that runs it. I was like, oh yeah, the name's familiar, but I don't know. But the minute I looked at their branding and their website, I was like, oh, I love them. It's where you go and get your design advice, and they're doing some fantastic stuff, right? The way they kind of carry themselves and the way they educate, and you're doing the same, right? That's in essence what you do. You're educating people.
That's the biggest goal.
Your old men with a GoPro, you know.
That's, I mean, it's building in public.
Yeah.
How do you know, the content that we create, we give it away for free because we know how difficult it is. But then why would we give it away for free? Because we know that there's other people like us. You know, we know, like back to my grandfather, he used to tell me, Shawn, when I was going to school, he goes, Shawn, are you sitting in front of the class? I go, no, Grandpa, I don't sit in front of the class. You know, I sit in the back with my friends. That's where all my friends are. I want to be liked. I want to be popular. And he would always tell me elementary school, high school, college. And I never understood it. And then I was traveling with him throughout Europe. We went through Western Europe, drove all the way to Eastern Europe as we were writing his life story. And I would watch him everywhere that we went, every tour we went. He was always next to the tour guide. He was always asking questions. And I was almost, I was still young at the time. You know, I was in college, and I was almost to the point where I was embarrassed. Like, you're holding up the tour to ask the questions. Like, you're that guy.
Yeah.
I understand why he did that. He wasn't doing that for him. He was doing it for me. His courage to ask the question always gave him the best information. And even though he was a medical doctor, highly educated, he never assumed any knowledge. Wherever we went, he was always taking the pamphlet. He was always raising his hand. And that put him in a position where all of us, whoever's listening to this call, we're in meetings with our coworkers. We go to conferences. Do you sit in front? Do you raise your hand? If somebody on a show gives a call to action to make a video on LinkedIn, do you do the work? Because 90% of the people won't do the work.
Yeah.
I've been doing this now, luckily fortunate to go give keynotes in Toronto, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, all of these incredible places with technologists, with restaurateurs, with hoteliers. I tell them the same thing. No one's coming to tell your story. Take out your phone, post the video. Everybody nods their head. Shawn's right. I know I need to do it. I've been thinking about do it. How many people do you think do it?
None.
10% is
Yeah.
generous.
And I
It's
remember
generous.
Yeah, I remember New Year. I seen a lot of people on LinkedIn on New Year around the New Year period saying, "This year I'm going to post." Remember, there was a bit of a trend. Everyone said, "I'm going to
Sure.
post every week for the next 12 weeks to make sure
Yeah.
I do it." And they maybe did the first 2, 3. It's a bit like going to the gym, isn't it? Kind of like
Yeah.
you kind of go there, run on the treadmill, and go, "God, this is hard work. I'm not doing this anymore." And I think that's what people do. But it's that staying power, I think, and that kind of grit is what separates people. I think in terms of success, sometimes that you just have that ability to see past the bit that is hard.
So this might help the audience. The problem that I see that I speak to, and I had this problem myself, is that when we think about content and we think about sharing our story, we see what we like. We see the people that we respect and we admire, and we go, I want to make something like that. Well, the problem with that is the same problem that I had as a barbecue restaurant. When we first started making barbecue, I wanted to make great barbecue in San Diego. The problem is we hadn't made any barbecue. I had to learn how to make barbecue. So I had to make a lot of bad barbecue before I made good barbecue. And with content, we want to make quality content. So when we make the post, we want to feel good about the post. And the problem is that's just not how it works. The answer to making quality content is quantity plus speed plus consistency
Yeah.
will eventually equal quality. You don't get
Yeah.
quality first. You've
No.
got to put out a quantity. You got to do it with speed and you got to do it consistently. If you don't, you're never going to get to that quality. And when you get to the quality place, it's never done. It's never done because tomorrow it needs to be better.
Yeah, 100%. I was watching a show called MasterChef. I don't know if you have it in the US.
Sure.
And MasterChef last night, and there's a doctor, done everything he wanted in his career, right? Highly qualified guy, really smart. And I was watching him create food thinking, wow, this guy will never stop at anything. I just got the impression that his family must be at home exhausted with him because I think he's just one of those people who just wants to be. And it's not about winning. It's just about, I want to get better a little bit every day. I want to be better than I was yesterday. And I just found it really interesting. And you also quoted Ted Lasso. I don't know if you realized about be curious. Anyone who watches Ted Lasso, there's a great scene.
That's a phenomenal scene.
Probably one of the best leadership programs I've watched. I mean, no, it's not meant to be, but in terms of leadership lessons, there's so many great call outs from Ted. It's just, if you're a dad as well, watching that show is just, it'll melt your heart. But it's a brilliant show.
I couldn't agree more.
And look, I think if I could ask you to give, you've given a lot of advice already, which is great. One piece of advice, I suppose, to we work with two types of people. We work with restaurant owners who are looking to build and improve their tech stacks, but we also work with a lot of technology companies who are trying to find new customers, trying to tell their story, I suppose, trying to talk about their product. What's the best bit of advice you could give, I suppose, in terms of picking up that phone and going for it? You may have already done it, but feel free to shoot.
Sure. So it's amazing to me. We work with incredible video teams all across the United States. Now we meet with them globally. And so many of the video teams, they do a great job with cameras, with lightings, with microphones to make beautiful videos that we all perceive as beautiful videos.
Yeah.
Well, I'll share a secret with all the audience. The videos that perform best on social media, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, are not those videos.
100%.
So the videos that you spend $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, $100,000 to create these big productions is not what the internet wants. What the internet wants is the truth. And the truth, what my mentor teaches me, the truth vibrates the fastest. When you speak your truth, when you stutter, when you say you're nervous, when you say the things that are preventing you from making this video or making this post, that will endear you to the audience, because back to that 90% of those people are worried themselves.
Yeah.
about who they are, about what their boss will think, what their coworkers will think, what their family will think. I mean, just think about the platforms that we're on. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn. Like each one of those platforms, it's a different audience. But if you're just speaking your truth, why can't you speak your truth on Facebook like you do on LinkedIn? Why are there two different platforms?
So true. Yeah, so true.
For me, you get everything on all platforms. Why? Because you get me. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a restaurant owner, I'm a podcaster, I'm a content creator. I love technology. I love the San Diego Chargers, which is now the Los Angeles Chargers. Like you get all of it. And for me, it's easy because then I'm not acting. I'm just being me. I'm just learning how to publish.
Yeah, and how hard is that, right? To be something else. I mean, that must be exhausting to try and be something else.
It must be. You know,
really
it must be exhausting.
And I love this, and we're going to get back to San Diego Chargers in a minute. So, look, when I came on your podcast, you asked me a quick fire round, which was quite funny actually, because you asked me which is my least favorite app, and I think I said my banking app.
Yeah,
and most people listening, well, for obvious reasons, will realize why. But I want to return the favor. I would say it to you.
Beautiful.
So, Shawn, we're going to just do some English versus UK versus US type stuff.
Beautiful.
So, in terms of breakfast, full English or waffles?
Full English? What's full English breakfast?
Well, it's like black pudding, bacon, tomato, sausages, beans, fried bread.
And what was the other option?
Waffles.
How about toast? Can I just have toast?
You can have toast if you want.
You can go with toast.
What do you have? I love that. What do you have for your breakfast there? What do you wake up to?
So my wife typically makes breakfast for the family. So she's Bulgarian, and she'll make what they call makitsi, which is a Bulgarian toast. It's almost like a beignet. She'll make that maybe once a week. Either that, or we have oatmeal or Bulgarian yogurt with fruit, something like that.
Love you got the Bulgarian roots running through you there. Fantastic. Yeah. The next one is about sport, and you just mentioned San Diego Chargers being the. So what did you say?
I think I'll always say the San Diego Chargers. That's just because.
So why aren't they the San Diego Chargers?
Why aren't they? They're the Los Angeles Chargers.
Wow. Well, I don't really understand this. So I was going to ask you, soccer or American football? What do you prefer?
So my whole life, it's always been American football. I didn't grow up playing soccer, but my son is playing soccer. So he is playing soccer, and he absolutely loves it. Like,
does he have an English team, a Premier League team?
Not yet. Who should I recommend one for?
Yeah, him? Liverpool. I mean, this is great that I can control this. I mean, everyone else was listening. I'll go, no. Liverpool all day long.
Liverpool's the one? Okay.
Yeah, they've got the best players.
I'll let him know. Chris says Liverpool.
Yeah. There's a change coming. Our manager's leaving us. It's literally like, honestly, mate, we're all depressed. He's been so good. But anyway,
we're huge Ryan Reynolds fans. So Wrexham.
Oh, yeah, they're doing great, right? They're about to go up again potentially. So they're about to get promoted again. So literally the next 3 weeks they'll
talk about a master storyteller, Ryan Reynolds. There you go.
What a great idea. Yeah, he is a great example of what you're talking about, right? That he's done, and the way they've done Wrexham is all about the community. It's nothing to do with the club.
I mean, the fact that we're talking about Wrexham is just.
I grew up about half an hour from there, right, as a kid.
That's amazing.
So, and Wrexham is a really poor town. It's just had no investment for so long, and they are literally spinning that coin. Like, genuinely, it's changing. It's insane.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
The power of what they've done there, or what they're doing, and it's only just begun.
That's the magic of storytelling and the internet, and this connected community that we have globally.
Yeah, it's insane. All right, next one for you: London or Cali?
Cali.
So disappointing. You haven't been? Have you been here? You've been here before, haven't you? You've been here a few times.
I've been to London with my grandfather. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you have to come again. You have to. I'll show you the background in a minute once I get past this bit.
Oh, we're definitely coming.
Or the White House.
What was the question?
Buckingham Palace or the White House?
Oh, the White House.
Who's going to be living in that this year or next? This year?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't want to get all political on you, but we have a view over here. But
what's the view?
To be honest, we're just shocked that you've got such a strange choice that actually you don't have. There's not a third. Who's like the rock star? Where's the rock star politician in America? It's huge. Why can't you find someone who's like, I don't know, progressive and young and interesting?
I don't know.
It's weird, isn't it?
I wish I had the answer for that one.
No, I know it's a very split thing over there, so I won't go into it too much. But we're all watching. with anticipation to see what happens over there. But look, I don't want to end on that note because that's politicians. And finally, what do you like to do? Because I've seen you, you did your post as a dad. I was watching the kids running around a hotel room, jumping on the hotel beds the other day on one of your posts. I thought it was great because I've got 3 as well. I suppose, how do they cope with dad being content creator, restaurant owner, traveling around doing all these keynotes now? How do they cope with it?
So the running joke in the family is that dad doesn't do any work. Dad just, dad just talks. And when every year we go in the summertime to Bulgaria, I set up my studio in the village. So I'm, podcasting, taking calls, thankfully because of the internet, we're connected. So that I know that no one has an excuse. Like if I can do content from the village in Bulgaria, no matter where you are on earth, you can figure it out as long as you have internet.
No, I love that.
But when we come back home, we went back to the restaurant and I was doing a TikTok live with Bernice, who's our pit master. She was fabricating about 150 racks of ribs for Father's Day. And my son was with me. So he was with me and he was, making a play-by-play commentary of like, oh, wow, that's what is she doing there? Like she's putting a rub onto the ribs and she's fabricating the ribs. And he goes, is this what you do all day, Dad? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, do you just make videos while everybody works? And I said, yes, son. I put the media, I put the media in Cali BQQ Media.
Do you know what? Most operators, I reckon, would love to build their own media company on the side of just to have a break from the day to day. Right? It's hard work.
That's the magic of what we have in our pocket. You can do it. You don't need to ask for permission.
Very true. Look, I love talking to you, and it's a shame you're so far away, but it also adds a bit of magic to it, right? The fact that we can connect like this and chat, so it's great. Look, if people want to get hold of you and reach out and just talk a little bit more, I mean, the LinkedIn call is fantastic. Actually, I can't attend because I have a child arrangement that I have to deal with at that time of the day. But I think, what time is it and when is it again for the LinkedIn audience? They can join you.
6 p.m. UK time, and that is on Wednesdays and on Fridays.
Okay.
But we would love for you to join us on there. You can send me a message on LinkedIn, Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. I'll send you the link to the room. But yeah, easiest place, connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram. Those are the fastest, but we're weirdly available on all platforms. So we would love to see you.
Mentioned Sophie, right? Sophie's from Grateful.
Sophie Davis is amazing.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. And she turns up to a lot of our brunch events and stuff, and she's a big follower. So yeah, we love her. So big shout out to you, Sophie, if you're listening.
And Phil Lovell of
Phil
Toast.
From Toast. Yeah, the most well-traveled man I've ever met. But yes,
the man is putting in miles.
He really is. I bet his Amex card's great.
Well, I can't wait to see Phil and you and everybody in the London community, because you guys, I have so much respect for what you guys do, and I'm grateful to be on the show.
No, we love it, and maybe I'll see you at the NRA. Is it?
You're coming to Chicago?
Is it Chicago? Yeah, I'm literally negotiating with someone about a hotel room at the moment about whether I should share with them or not. No, well, there's a package going over there, and you can save a bit of money if you share, but I just don't know if I want to share with him. So,
you're going. I'll see you.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm pretty much going to. I'm 99%.
That's our big show.
I saw your packages. I'm going to buy one.
Oh so, yeah, come get on. Let's go.
I saw it. But look, if I don't see you at the NRA, I will see you soon anyway. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there, mate. But thank you very much for joining us at 5 a.m. I'm literally, we are blessed. We appreciate it. I'm just going to turn the camera. I don't know if this works. I'm so wired in, but you can see here.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Slide over here.
I love it.
Yeah, and then there's a bowling alley just behind me. This is Brewdog in Waterloo, and so they have slides, co-working, bowling, all sorts of stuff going on.
A studio there too.
Yeah, and a podcast studio, then meeting rooms. It's all in one building. I mean, it's just it's where we're at, right, with the industry. It's just a brilliant way of showcasing what we can do as an industry, and it brings all. Because today it's Easter holidays here, so there's lots of families here and whatnot. But normally it's business guys working away, having meetings. So great place to be.
I love it.
Right. Well, thank you very much, my friend. I will let you go back to bed. Or what's next for you today?
When are you posting your video?
It'd be 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, I'm going to hold you to that.
My video will be out today. I'm on every day.
Let's get more. I want more videos.
I'll do more. I was doing. Do you know what? And I'll be really honest with you. My video, I was doing. I was trying to be too careful with it. I was trying to do it, measured and correct. So I will do one tomorrow for you, and I will shout you out.
More raw video.
Yeah. Just me unshaven, looking like hell.
That's what I'm talking about. That's Brilliant.
All right, man.
All right.
Great to see you. Take care and
You
enjoy
got
the
it.
rest of
Thanks,
your day.
Chris. Cheers.
Thanks, man.